Hi, friends. Welcome back. This is Caitlin, and you're joining me with Pink and Main. And I am so glad that you're here. We are definitely going to have some fun tonight, kind of personalizing and using some products in a different way. We made this really fun shaker tag, snowy shaker tag on Monday. And this is with these shaker tag dies. So that's what this was created for specifically. And we had a request to use the snow globe dies from Pink and Man that have been out for years and turn them into a tag, a shaker tag. So we're going to have some fun kind of figuring that out. I have some ideas. I did some prep work. I didn't do a full trial, so per usual, we'll see how it goes. I definitely want to go through and do a quick run through. I see Denise, I see Miss Judy B checking in, Virginia, Lori, Maria, and Dawn. I'm so glad to see you ladies all here. Perfect. Melissa's here. Dawn said she's got her snow globe dies ready. That's perfect. Chasia, I'm so glad. Everybody's checking in. Susan, happy Thanksgiving. Yeah, I'm just so excited to be able to hang out with you guys. I know historically the night before Thanksgiving is a party night. It's the biggest party night of the year according to Google. Um, but I'm not really a partier. This is my version of partying. So we're gonna have some safe, travel-free card making fun tonight, and it's gonna be pretty good, I think. Yes, thank you, Melissa, specifically for requesting the snow globe. Shout out to Anne checking in from Michigan, and I see Kendra came to hang out. Kendra just put up a video, I think it was this week. I'm pretty sure this week's kind of been a blur. This weekend or this week of, I think it's 10 cards, like 10 Pink and Main cards all in one go. So if you haven't checked that out, definitely make sure you check out Cards by Kendra, because her videos are always super fun. Virginia's doing some cooking prep. That's good. I'm lucky enough that I get to go to multiple in-law houses tomorrow, so I'm going to make us our own little Thanksgiving over the weekend, I think. But for at least for tomorrow, I get to just enjoy. So that's nice. I see Jeanette checking in from Florida. That's nice. It's been cold and rainy here. It's no fun. But let me go ahead and get us switched over. So I have all of my stuff here. Like I said, this is the tag for anybody who missed it that we made on Monday. It has that really fun frosty shaker inside. And these dies come with the frame and then the hole already poked for the string. The snow globe dies do not come that way. They're just a snow globe, a shaker snow globe. So you can make a shaped card with these if you want. You could make a tag, I'm hoping, with these, or it can be a shaker element you add onto your card, or you can do just the stamped image and stamp everything else into it and let it be just a flat 2D image of a snow globe. So let me walk you through for anybody who hasn't seen the snow globe dies, and I will explain how I use them. So it comes with 4 dies. You get this really cute snow sweet of you sentiment that fits perfectly inside, and the dies fit perfectly with the stamps as usual. You get this base that cuts out a piece like this that you can stamp your stamp right onto, or you can attach it like this, and it's the base of your snow globe. So I'll just walk you through all the pieces first. So those are the first 2. These 2 I have taped together, but they come separate. So you get the solid base and you get the inner circle. And so what I like to do is cut all of my solid bases first. So I cut one of these blue bokeh or bokeh papers from the Butterfly Kisses. I have one paper is going to make us our front and our main like inside image. So I cut a solid one of those. I cut a solid of this white and gray stripe. This is going to be the back. So what we're going to end up doing is putting these back to back. Then once I have all my solids done, which technically we're going to have to do one more at the end because I need to cut my acetate still. But I take washi tape and I tape my inner and outer piece together so that all of the frames that I cut are the exact same layout. Because these are so thin, like this space is so thin that if it's off a little bit or you're letting it wiggle around at all, they're not going to line up. So I tape mine together. And then when I tape this part down to my cardstock, I just tape at the bottom. And that has allowed me to cut 4 of these frames that I pre-glued. I went with 4 instead of 5, like the other shaker, because this well was pretty deep for how fine the glitter is. And because I knew I was going to have 2 backer pieces, that's already like an extra layer. And I didn't want this to be like too crazy thick. So we're going to end up layering those like that. You could leave this white. You could stamp and have the outline of this and color it. We're going to cut the frame out of the matching paper so it looks super seamless. But you could, like, that's still really pretty. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm considering in the moment switching it up, but I still think the teal, like that's going to be really pretty. So I think I'll just stick with my plan, but know that that's an option. And then I don't take these apart until I'm completely done, or like the next time I go to use them. So Kylie's checking in from Australia. I don't know if we've had anyone from Australia, at least in the comments, Kylie. So thank you so much. I used this pattern paper to make this card that was my blog post card for tonight. And I am so now in love with this pattern. I hadn't used it before, and I've had this pattern paper pack for a while, but there's a blue, a teal, and a purple in that like spotted pattern, and I just love it. So I really wanted to use it today. And I decided to use the same stamp set from the other day, but instead of, sorry for that glare, instead of these guys having the snowball fight, we're going to use these guys cuddling, and we're going to put the moon and the cloud up in the sky. So, Becky, it's okay. You're not really late. We haven't even put anything together yet. We're still just going over the plan. I also grabbed the Snowdrift chunky glitter that we used the other night. And this time we're going to add in some of that Tinseltown glitter because we haven't used it yet. And it's so stinking pretty. So I want to play around with that. But we definitely have some things we need to glue and get drying. So I want to do that first and then we'll color. And I think that'll be fun. The pattern paper I'm using is the Butterfly Kisses. It's in the description with a link for you guys if you want to check it out. And then this is just acetate sheets from Michaels. Perfect. And the scrap that I have is going to be big enough for that. I love when that happens. All right, so I am going to cut one more layer while I have these taped together of this base. And I didn't cut the top frame just because I felt like it's no fun if I do all of the prep work ahead of time. And I wanted you to see how easy it is for this frame that we've created to stay together when you're using it this way. So the center part just pops out. This part just pops out. And then there you go. You have your frame. And we know that that is going to line up perfectly on the top of our little set there. So now that I know I'm done with frames, I'm going to remove this intersection and pop that into the back of my stamp set. I was considering doing the stamp, but I just decided against it. I really want this to look a little more like soft and ethereal with this pattern paper. And so I was concerned that if I added in that bold black outline, that it would throw that off. It would harsh my mellow, you know? And then when I am die cutting acetate, either packaging acetate or thicker acetate like this, what I like to do is take a piece of printer paper, and I do this no matter what shape my cutting plates are in my die cutting machine. I just do this all the time. So I'm gonna just fold that hot dog or hamburger way and place this inside, and we're just gonna make a sandwich with it, and that's gonna protect our acetate and make sure that it doesn't get scratched up. It stays nice and clear. And then when you take your sandwich apart, this is always like in with the printer paper. And I'll just save this because I can use it as like a guard to color on top of or something later. And I'm going to trim this little bottom piece and save that, because for some of our smaller tags or things like that, I can still use up that plastic. I don't like to waste. For how fast my stuff is. Oh, thanks, Jay. It's actually going to be Friday. I have my craft roulette challenge with Mr. Wheel. That is going to be fun. Yes, Kendra, the pattern paper that we used, this teal bokeh, and there's a purple and a blue, are all from that Butterfly Kisses. So pretty. Yes, I'm very excited for Craft Roulette on. I know this week is tough. Like I'm on a different night than usual, different nights than usual. Work is different this week. It's a weird week. But yes, I'm very excited. I did my internet test tonight with Mr. Producer over there. So we should be good to go for Friday. So I laid a little bit of liquid glue around the top part of my frame. And I am just going to take my time and make sure that it is in really good placement. Like that. Then I'm going to lay a little bit of that liquid glue on the acetate. And this is why I want to prep this now, because I want to make sure that this has plenty of time to dry before we start messing with it. The acetate makes everything a little bit slippery. All right, so once we have that in a pretty good spot, I am going to put an acrylic block and my glue on top of it and let that just hold in place. And we're going to prep the back of our piece. And for this, I ran out of that blue twine, but I have this really pretty white that has just a little hint of gold. So yeah. Yes, Jay, we are making a shaker snow globe tag. We made a regular shaker tag with the shaker tag dies on Monday that looked like this. And so Melissa had asked if we could try out making a tag out of the snow globe shaker. I could not turn down that opportunity. Okay, so for the to make it a tag. I thought about punching holes, but then I was like, how do we keep the glitter in? So what I've decided is I just cut pretty equal pieces of my twine, and I am just going to take some washi tape and we're going to tape this down. And I want this to stay put, so I am going to really tape it down. And we're going to sandwich this twine in between these two layers, just like that. So I am going to go in with a combination of tape, guys, I'm sorry, tape runner over top of that washi tape. And I'm also going to go in, especially right around the edges, with a thin layer, but all over, even where I put that tape runner, with my liquid glue, because we want to make sure that these two pieces stay stuck together. That liquid glue should give us a little wiggle room. But I'm still going to try pretty hard to make sure that this is lined up. I'm going to give that a really good squish. Okay, and this is just the back of our card. I'm just leaving blank for today, but this would be the perfect spot to write your to and from, especially with the lines. I think that's really cute. Oh, Annette, that's so fun. You get to have sleepover time with your grandkids. I love that. Okay, so we're also gonna stick that under here and give that time to dry. And the one thing I did not do already too with prepping these was stamp my sentiment. In fact, I don't even have a sentiment picked out, which is not good. So it's very good that I have all of my stamp sets right here. I don't want that teeny tiny one. We'll do this one. We'll do from the Cup of Good Cheer stamp set that we used last week. We're going to borrow that Warmest Wishes, because the little itty bitty guys that we used the other day are going to get lost on this. And well, this is going to be rough to make sure it does not move. So go. So I'm going to try to get this pretty centered. And then from the door, I'm going to peel up the edges. I'm going to leave the center of the stamp where it is. So I'm just peeling up the like outer couple letters. That's a little too curved. And sometimes it's a little bit of trial and error. But I just want it to curve a little bit to match that. Yeah, that's pretty good. To match the curve of that little bottom part. Oh yeah, the Kendra's challenges are so much fun, especially if you need some inspiration. All right, I am barely tapping my asphalt ink. I've kind of smushed it around on a scrap piece of paper a little bit and got some of that ink settled. So it's stamping nicer now. But that's going to be the little base of our, here we go, of our snow globe. It's not perfect, but it's pretty close. Pop that guy right back in here. And obviously you can make this whatever sentiment you want. Hey Raquel, thanks for checking in. Indeed. Wrap this right on the front. Because why not? I love that you get like a little peek of that teal at the bottom too. So let's put all of that back under our acrylic block and we will color while that dries. So we have the little bear and penguin, and then we have the moon and the cloud. And I grabbed some different grays today, just to again show like different ways to color up that same set. So let's work from left to right. We'll go in with our, let's do our lightest shades, just because I don't want there to be any issues with that black smudging anything. So I'm going to shade in the ice, and we're going to use this BG11 for their scarves too. But I'm going to start by kind of laying a little bit of a ground drop shadow under their butts. And then I'm going to shade the edges of that little like iceberg, little floating ice thing. And we're going to blend that out with BG10. We're just doing 10 and 11 for this. And we're going to add some glitter to this when we're done coloring. Kind of frost it up just like we did the snowballs last time. So that's just going to take a little bit of that stark white away. And then this time for our penguin, we're going to go with some neutral grays. So I'm going to go in with N8, which is pretty dark. And we're going to shade the outside of the head, kind of the inner part of that wing, and then down along the back and under the scarf and the arm, anywhere where there would naturally be a shadow. So that was N8. We're going to go in with N6. Pull some of that color out. I love seeing you guys talking, but it's definitely harder to keep up. So don't get upset if I'm not responding back really quick. Thank you so much, Janet. I appreciate that. Yeah, hopefully I didn't miss any questions, but yeah, otherwise, definitely feel free to always talk amongst yourselves. I love that this is such a fun place for you guys to like connect and get to know each other more. So I'm going in with N5 as my final color in my blend. And you can see it's not crazy dramatic, but we still have that nice little bit of shading. So he doesn't look flat. And then for the polar bear, I'm changing it up and we're going to do warm grays because I think that's fun. right? Polar bears like underneath always have some like yellowy to their fur. So we're going to go in with W3. We're going to do this side of under, right? On the penguin, we did on the left. So on the polar bear, we're going to do on the right. We're kind of going for like a centralized shadow. We're going to do under his little butt, on the bottom of his arm, and then on the outside of his little head, base of his ears. And then we're going to go blend that out with W1. And just like we did on Monday, we're going to try really hard to leave some white space so that he doesn't look like a warm gray bear. He looks like a shaded white bear. I'm going to skip that lightest one and we'll just go colorless blender. And his little tail can just be, we'll just add a tiny bit of one to the bottom there. So that's the back of that bear. Little soft. Love that. And then for the hat and scarves, we're going to use that same BG11 from the ice, but we're also going to bring in BG23, which is going to really give us like a pop of that teal color. And these are definitely more bold teals than the teal in that paper, but I think it'll still tie in really well together. They'll look like it's like eyebrows, right? Like sisters, not twins. They'll look like they're from the same family. We can even leave a little bit of white showing there. We'll blend that out with colorless blender. I kind of like that because that pattern paper has all those white dots. Leaving it a little lighter is kind of fun. So yeah, I just think that's a little more simple to color. But I think once it all comes together, it's really still going to be super impactful. So for this moon, I want to give it a soft yellow kind of glow. So we're going to take some Y11. And I'm kind of focusing that on the inside and then just the bottom. You guys can't even see that. There we go. Just the bottom and kind of letting it taper. So I'm not doing the full outline there. That was Y11. And then I'm going to go in with Y00 to blend that out. Pull up some of that color a little higher. And then Y quadruple 0 to blend that out. This is so pale. If you don't have Y quadruple 0, I don't even know why I have Y quadruple 0. But if you don't have it, colorless blender would probably be completely fine. And I'm just going to kind of reinforce that bottom, that first highlight, or that first shadow color I did, sorry. Just like that. Crystal, I did not heat emboss or I didn't even like use the heat tool to dry my ink. I just stamped it around 8 o'clock to make sure that it had time to dry. But even within that half hour, I was good to go. Yeah, I would not recommend heat embossing any ink if you're using Copics because technically Copics don't like embossing. I don't know why. I think it's something about the nib, but I've heard multiple people say, like Copic people say, that you shouldn't use them with heat embossed lines. So I would save heat embossing for like watercolor if it was me. But also like do what you want to do, play around. If you have tried it before and it's worked out fine for you, live your best life. I'm taking W1 and I'm just adding some shading to the bottom part of that cloud. And I'm not even going to blend it out. I'm just going to leave it at that. Thank you so much, Kendra. I love coloring with you guys. That's not good, Melissa. I hope it's not all of YouTube freezing. I'll have to go back and check that. Okay, so those are our images all ready to go. Let's get those die cut. Oh yeah, Crystal, definitely recommend the ink. I love all of the inks from Pink and Main. Let's get that guy taped down. I did the smaller of the clouds. Then we have the moon. Melissa's in the boonies of Nova Scotia. Sounds either peaceful or like a little scary. I want to live out in the middle of nowhere, but then also like if you need help, I feel like it stinks because you're in the middle of nowhere. But I don't ask for my neighbors for help now as it is anyway, so probably shouldn't be that big of a concern. Okay, there's our little die cuts. And we are going to pull all of this together. You guys know if I don't put everything back on that paper now, I will lose it all. All right, let's assess this situation. All right, so we have our tag base. We have our, oh, I knew it. This acrylic block had ink on it. All right, we're all gonna agree that there's not pink ink on this. You see, make sure your acrylic block is clean before you use it as a weight. There we go. That should be less blurry. If it still looks blurry, let me know, but it could have been that I was like messing with the zoom. But we are going to take, just like we did the other day, we're going to take a little bit of the anti-static powder, and I'm just going to try to very gently brush some of that on the inside of my plastic, my acetate. And we are going to fill our well with some of the Snowdrift glitter, which is lovely. I have to remember I don't have as much space as the other night because I did one less layer. And that might not seem like a huge difference, but it does make a difference. Instead of trying to pour it back in and making a mess everywhere, especially this glitter doesn't go airborne, I'm just kind of squishing my finger into it and like putting it back into the container. So we'll do that. And then we need a little sprinkle of the tinsel. And this stuff I know looks really fluffy, like there's flock in it, but it's not. It's just when you can see the pieces like from the side, when you're not getting the iridescent, it looks fluffy. So we're going to add a little bit of that tinsel. Oh, I love that so much. And this can be pretty full. I want it to be able to move around, but the images are going to cover the bottom. So I still want to make sure that I have enough in there that it can peek over the top. Okay, so now we try really hard not to bump anything. And we're going to take our liquid glue, make sure we get right up against the edge and the thinnest little line all the way around. We don't want this to squish out because then it'll just hold onto that glitter. We're going to flip our little tag over, get that lined up. Once we press all the way around the edges, we can flip it, make sure it looks lined up from that side as well. So that's interesting. So from where I have those strings taped, there's like one little clump that doesn't want to let go. There you go. If you just give it a little bit of a more firm tap, that'll get it shifting. So you can see how prismatic and fun that different, having those different shapes in there is. I love that so much. And you know what? We're going to cover that ink smudge that I made with the bottom of their iceberg. So that's going to be perfect. We could use a little foam. Our foam is really thick, so I'm going to bring in backup. This snow globe, Virginia, that's a good, fair question. This snow globe is just under 3.5 inches tall by 2 3/4 wide. And I'll show it to you next to the shaker that we made on Monday for comparison. So it's a little smaller. It's about the same width, but a little bit shorter than the one we made on Monday. But you can see with that string sandwiched in, it's gonna work as a tag. We can just tie this to whatever little bag we want. This would make an adorable ornament too. Throwing that out there. But we're gonna bring in an assist from Simon Says Stamp. I don't have any of the bigger squares. I only have these minis, but they make these super, super crazy thin little squares of foam. And so I'm going to add that to the top part of my image because this between the frame and then the bottom element, there is definitely a difference in depth. And then we're going to add some liquid glue right on this bottom section where I want to make sure that it hits that gray cardstock. Oh yeah, that's the other thing. You can add these elements inside your shaker or you can add them on top of your shaker. So keep that in mind depending on how much shaker filling you want to put in, or if you're using like a clear glitter versus something really colorful, you can, I'm going to put these on the front because I was worried that all of this would really cover up or would get stuck on the moon and the cloud. But I just, so you can definitely play around with putting other things inside your shaker for your background. I'm going to add these with tape runner, and I'm tucking the cloud behind the moon. And listen, I know that that's not possible for the cloud to be behind the moon, but it's strategic for my art. So just, actually, I guess maybe I don't need it to go behind the moon because I kind of want my moon further over. But that's cute. They can just be little pals together. So now we have our little penguin and bear. In reality, I would have stamped this a little lower if I knew I was going to squish them down, but I had to cover up that pink splotch somehow. And then the last step is going to be adding some of our Snowdrift for some frost. So I'm breaking out that Quickie glue pen again, and we're going to add a little line of it. I remembered to put it in the description this time. I went and found it. And we can add some to the edges of this too. That'll be cute. And then I'm going to take the Snowdrift, and because there's foam on here, I'm going to be careful to try to just tap this where the glue is and let the rest kind of run down onto the paper. I don't want to get any up here, mostly just because it would be wasteful, not because I think it would hurt anything. Just give it a good tap. And that just adds that little frosty, icy feel that I think is just so cute. I can already tell I'm going to need a second jar of this. Like, not that, and that's the other thing. I can't really show you sideways, but I still have way more than half. Probably I've only used a quarter of the glitter in there for how many, like all of these shakers, and I used it for my blog card as well. So like this glitter isn't, you're not just going to fly through it. There's more in there than you think. But just how stinking pretty is that? And then in the back, you could just put your little to and from. These aren't going anywhere. Your strings are on. Like I said, it could be an ornament. It could be a little tag. It could be a tag that somebody turns into an ornament. I just love it so much. I'm so glad that Melissa asked that question. So please, 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 if anybody else ever, even if it's random during the week and you go back to the last week's video and leave me a comment, that's fine too. It doesn't have to be in the moment. But anytime you guys have a question or you really want to see a product used or maybe used in a different way, never hesitate to ask. I might not always have an immediate answer or a solution for what you're looking for, but we will figure it out together. Because I just think this is so fun. I would never have done this on my own, but I love it. So now we have our two fun little tags. They can just hang out and be friends together. I'm so glad, Dawn, that you like it. Oh, that's a great question. So Pink and Main has the Pink and Main Galleries as a Facebook group. You could definitely post it there. If you post it on Instagram, you can tag me and Pink and Main in it. If you just want to show me what you've done and you don't need other people's opinions, you can always DM me on Instagram. I will see it almost immediately, I'm sure. So yeah, any of those are an option. Yeah, definitely. Oh, Melissa, that's such a good. Melissa said she wraps her gifts in craft paper and then she can make her own tags and they'll like match no matter what. I love that idea. We do that sometimes with stickers. We'll decorate with like plain paper and then decorate that with stickers. So it's okay, Carmen. I'm so glad that you still got to make it. I'm glad you're doing good. I hope you're doing good at least. But yeah, that is our little shakety shake tags all finished up. I just can't get over that tinsel. That's such a fun shape, and the iridescent on that is just so beautiful. So that wraps this up. Let's move that out of the way. I just want to tell you guys on this Thanksgiving Eve that I am so incredibly grateful to you guys for coming to hang out with me, for always being so supportive. Card making has been such a fun and interesting journey for me, and being able to work with Pink and Main and go live and do this with you guys every week has truly been a gift this year. It's something that keeps me going and pushing and gives me something to look forward to and focus on week after week. So I just want to say thank you seriously from the bottom of my heart for all of your love and support. Again, don't be afraid to give constructive criticism or make requests, because that's all fair game as well. But I really hope that you all have a lovely Thanksgiving. And if you're not in the US, I hope you have a beautiful Thursday and a great weekend. Please, 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 everybody stay safe, hug a loved one, call somebody, somebody maybe you haven't talked to if you don't get to see family this week. And yeah, just take a second to think of something extra to be grateful for. All right, I'll see you guys back here next week on Tuesday and Thursday, normal times. We resume our normal schedule, 8:30 p.m. Eastern. I will definitely check back in the comments, probably Saturday or Sunday. If you are free on Friday night, you can come hang out with me over at Craft Roulette. If you look up Craft Roulette on YouTube or follow my channel that's linked in the description of wherever you're watching, I'll be posting links for it today and tomorrow. You can come hang out Friday night and see if I can take on the wheel challenge, have some random parameters to work with, and make a fun card. So hopefully I will see you there. And if not, I'll see you on Tuesday. Have a great weekend. And until next time, guys, happy crafting.